What's up everybody? Welcome to another episode of Scales 13. In today's video, we're going to be introducing a new series called What It's Like. In this series, I'm basically going to explain what it's like to own each one of my reptiles as a pet. In today's video, we're going to be covering the Pueblan milksnake. Hope you enjoy. Okay guys, so the first question is, when is it the best time to view this animal in its enclosure? Well, Pueblan milksnakes are a crepuscular species of reptile, meaning that this animal is most active during dusk and dawn. So if you're home in the early morning or if you're home in the evening, you'll easily be able to see this animal as it starts off its day or ends its day, so to speak, when this animal is getting ready to go back to sleep in the early mornings. And you'll be able to see this animal come out and start its little exploring and adventure within the enclosure in the evening. Now, this animal is a burrowing type of reptile, a burrowing snake, meaning that this animal is mostly going to live a subterranean lifestyle. Now, I don't mean that as far as this animal digging 5, 6, 7 feet into the ground, but what I mean is within the enclosure, this animal is going to constantly be burrowing within the substrate, and it's going to be hiding in different hides, so that way it's not constantly exposed. Now, if you do want to view this animal, I suggest sitting in the room, keeping yourself quiet and not making any sudden quick movements, just so you can watch the animal slither throughout the enclosure without any disturbances, because this animal is quite flighty. You don't want to present any situation of danger where this animal feels like it has to bolt and hide. Otherwise, you won't be able to actually see this animal do the things that it would normally do in the wild, such as look for food. Now, another thing that I want you guys to understand about this animal being such a reclusive pet is you want to feed this animal its food items at the time that the animal is, of course, awake and has thoroughly heated up its body and is nice and active. Since the current time is 8 p.m. that I am recording this video, I have two mouse fuzzies right here, and I actually have them defrosting right now, so that way as soon as the animal comes out, I'm going to feed these food items to our Pueblan milksnake, because it'll be time for her to get out and start searching for food, and these are going to be her prey items tonight. Now we're going to move on to the second subject, which is handling. And we're basically going to say how difficult it is to handle a Pueblan milksnake. Now, with my luck right now, Phoenix is actually being very, very calm, clinging to me. Maybe it's because she's trying to get warm. But watch when I put her on the ground for a second, if she will allow me to do that without like spooking her. Okay, now she's on the ground. Good girl. As you can see, she's nice and vibrant. Very happy snake. Now look, see? Now as soon as she starts moving around, she's gone. And here's the thing about Pueblan milksnakes, guys. They're not one of those snakes where you can kind of just hold or hang around your neck all day and stuff like that. This is a very active species. As you guys can probably hear me scrambling to get her because she's moving around. Now, the thing is, like I said before, since these animals like to hide so much, they don't like big open spaces. And I only really put her in an open space just so I can show you guys an example. So for this species, I would say that handling can be done, but this isn't an animal that is super keen on handling. They're very flighty, they're very fast, they can hide easily because they're not a large constrictor, they're a small colubrid. One positive is that they're very bright colored, so if one of them does get loose somehow, the awesome thing is, I mean, you can't miss that pattern, so it'll be pretty easy to see one of these animals if it is somewhere visible within your house. But these guys are an animal that doesn't necessarily enjoy handling a lot. Now my girl Phoenix here that I've had for a couple years does pretty well with handling, where she's not super flighty, where if I get her on a good day and she's more relaxed, she can kind of hang out with me for about a half hour at a time. But once she gets the idea that she doesn't want to be handled and something spooks her, she's out. And she's out like a lightning bolt. She's so quick. And now she is climbing all over my tripod. Okay, well, hey, it's convenient for me. Yeah, but as you can see, she does not sit still. This animal just loves to be active and just loves to move, which is awesome if you can find time in the evening or in the morning to watch this animal and explore its enclosure. But when it comes to handling, they want to get away. So basically what I'm saying, guys, if you want an animal that's going to be great with handling on a daily basis, and you want the animal to be nice and calm while you can sit there and not pay attention to it, kind of like just glance at it every once in a while, this is not the animal for you. But if you have an animal where you're going to take the responsibility to make sure you watch its every move and make sure you know where it's going when it's moving, and you don't mind a little bit of sassiness and flightiness, then this is a great pet for you. Oh, and another thing that it does, just like quite a few other snakes do, this animal will not hesitate to musk you. Now, right now she's being pretty good, but sometimes if I pick her up and she doesn't feel like being picked up, she'll whip the end of her tail at me right here. Actually, I wouldn't even say whip, more like a flick. And what she'll do is she'll try to urinate and flick that at me. And what I believe that is just a way to deter predators, so that way they can get away. Because of course, Pueblan milksnake, being an animal that mimics a venomous snake, forgot what the terminology of that is. But yeah, this animal is not a very strong individual that will do well against an attack from a predator. It has a very small head. Once something decapitates the animal or injures the head, then this animal's pretty much lunch for whatever predator is out there in the wild. So these guys, their basic form of attack is urinate, fling it at the enemy, and run or slither as fast as they possibly can, and don't stop until you find a secure hiding place. All right, guys, well, her fuzzies have actually been completely defrosted. You see the tail's nice and limp and everything like that. So while I explain this animal's husbandry and how difficult it is, let's see if we can get her to chow down for us, so that way she can be somewhat preoccupied. Now, the awesome thing about the Pueblan milksnake when it comes to its husbandry is, this is honestly one of the most easiest reptiles to keep, as far as making sure that this animal is maintained in an environment that will keep the animal alive. It's super simple. Some people use beach chips, some people use aspen as the bedding. Either way, you want to go kind of like with a drier bedding. Some pretty good eater. But there you go, girl. And let's see if we can just get her to, oh, I guess she's gonna eat on the floor. Oh well. But yeah, let's see if I can just kind of get away a little bit and zoom her in. There we go. But these guys do tend to do well on quite a few different substrates. And as far as heating, keep the temperature about 85 degrees to 90 degrees. On the warm side, you can use a heat mat with a thermostat attached. You could use lights. You could add UVB. You could not use UVB at all. These animals eat a whole prey diet of rodents that have solid bone. So these animals are going to be able to absorb their calcium and the D3 because of the type of food that it's eating already. They don't need a super large space for the animal to survive. Now, granted, as you guys know, the more space, the better. These animals can survive in an enclosure as big as a 20 long or a 40-gallon breeder fish tank, but you can go bigger. You can put this animal in a 4x2x2 and give it a real decked out enclosure. You can go bigger than that. You might want to put this animal in a 6-foot enclosure. Do whatever you want. But my point being is it's not difficult to keep this animal thriving and doing well. This is one of the easiest snakes I've ever had. And honestly, this is the second snake I had after and there she goes, being an explorer again, being another thing. Yeah, this is only the second snake. This is only the second snake I've ever had since my garter snake, and she is doing absolutely phenomenal. Another thing that I'm sure you guys saw is that these animals do not have a problem eating. One thing I love about Pueblan milksnakes is that these guys love food, and they don't go on those hunger strikes like the oh so famous ball python will. Not saying that ball pythons are bad pets or anything like that. They are great pets. But one of the things that I constantly hear ball python keepers talk about are those little hunger strikes that these animals tend to have, which can really be a pain in the butt when you want to make sure your animal's eating a proper diet at a proper frequency to make sure that the animal's surviving and thriving. These guys do not turn down food. These animals eat rodents, and if you get frozen thawed, they'll take it very, very easily, which is what I love about this animal. Now, keep in mind, some people like to feed small feeder lizards, some people like to feed feeder frogs to mix things up. Do whatever you want, but what I'm saying is, if you can find a local pet store that sells frozen thawed rodents, that's all you need. That's literally all you need for this animal to grow and live and thrive and have a nice long life. These animals can live up to 20 years. Most of the ones that have lived up to 20 years on record were fed primarily on rodents their entire life. So these guys don't have a difficult diet at all. So when it comes to caging, when it comes to getting the animal to feed, the availability of said food, the heat and the maintenance, and with the cleaning. Since these guys live in a dry environment, you don't have to worry about too much of molds and things like that popping up, as long as your substrate doesn't get wet. For me, it's very easy. All I have to do is just spot clean every now and then, and once a week change the aspen, and that's it. One thing that I do to make sure that the substrate is very safe for the reptile is I actually take a strainer, and I actually try to remove as much dust as possible from the aspen, just to make sure this animal's not breathing in all those small wood particles. And now she's on the move again. But yeah, that's but this animal's husbandry is extremely easy, and honestly I think they make great pet snakes. I hope this video gave you a great insight into keeping and taking care of Pueblan milksnakes. I really appreciate you guys watching this video, and I hope you stick around to see what new videos we'll be coming out with and to continue with this series. Everyone have a great day. Peace.